Have you ever pondered how climate change might influence the very power that lights up our homes and cities? As we stand on the precipice of a new era, the climate change conundrum is one that cannot be overlooked. For decades, we've been harnessing the power of nature to fuel our societies, but climate change threatens to disrupt this delicate balance. Consider this. Our energy generation, from the heat that warms our homes to the electricity that powers our devices, it all depends on the climate in one way or another. Let's zero in on hydropower, a renewable source that has been a beacon of hope in our quest for sustainable energy. Hydropower, despite its renewable status, is heavily reliant on climate conditions. It's simple, really. No water, no power. So what happens to hydropower when the climate starts playing foul? To understand this, we need to delve deeper into the relationship between hydropower and climate. So let's start with the basics. Hydropower, as the name suggests, is power derived from the energy of falling or fast-running water. It's a form of renewable energy that requires large volumes of water to generate electricity. Here's how it works. A dam is built across a river to create a reservoir. This reservoir stores water, and when released, the water flows down a pipe called a penstock. This water hits the blades of a turbine, causing it to spin, which in turn spins a generator to produce electricity. Now you might be wondering, where does all this water come from? Well, the answer is rainfall. Rivers and reservoirs are replenished by rain, making rainfall a critical factor in hydropower generation. This is where seasonal changes come into play. In regions where rainfall is seasonal, the water levels in the reservoirs fluctuate. During the rainy season, the reservoirs fill up, and during the dry season, water levels decrease. This fluctuation can affect the amount of electricity generated. Now let's bring climate change into the picture. Climate change, characterized by increased temperatures and erratic rainfall patterns, could disrupt this delicate balance. Higher temperatures could lead to increased evaporation, resulting in less water in the reservoirs. Similarly, erratic rainfall could mean longer dry spells, again leading to decreased water levels. So, you see, hydropower, while a fantastic source of renewable energy, is heavily dependent on climate conditions. Changes in these conditions could potentially destabilize the entire process, leading to less reliable and less predictable energy generation. This might sound a bit abstract, so let's put it into perspective. Imagine a year with an exceptionally hot summer and little rain. The reservoirs dry up, the turbines can't spin, and suddenly, the lights go out. That's the potential impact of climate change on hydropower. But rather than speak in hypotheticals, let's examine a real-life case. In 2014, Brazil, a country that relies heavily on hydropower, faced a severe drought. A prolonged dry spell swept across the nation, leading to a dramatic drop in water levels in reservoirs. Brazil, a nation that derives nearly 70% of its electricity from hydropower, was suddenly facing a crisis of epic proportions. Let's delve a bit deeper into this. The drought wasn't just a one-off event. It was a prolonged dry period that lasted for months on end. This wasn't just a slight dip in water levels, we're talking about a significant drop. A drop so severe it brought the hydropower generation to its knees. The consequences were far-reaching. Power rationing became the order of the day. Imagine a country of over 200 million people having to limit their power usage. It wasn't just inconvenient, it was crippling. And then there were the increased electricity prices. With hydropower generation struggling, the country had to rely more on fossil fuels. The shift was not only costly, but also detrimental to the environment. The 2014 drought crisis in Brazil is a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities of hydropower in the face of climate change. It underscores the need for diversification and resilience in our energy systems. It's a wake-up call that we can't afford to ignore. This case clearly illustrates how climate change can have a profound impact on hydropower. So, where does this leave us? We've dissected the intricate relationship between climate change and hydropower, exploring how shifts in climate patterns can significantly impact electricity generation. We've seen this play out in real time with Brazil's drought crisis, a stark demonstration of how prolonged dry spells can deplete water reservoirs, threatening hydropower production. Climate change isn't just about hotter summers and erratic rains, it's about how we power our future. And that's food for thought, isn't it?